morning, guys! I just want to quickly mention that today's video is sponsored by Simply Safe. But we're going to get into that a little bit later. Today we got some stuff planned. We're going to start on the lean-to, extend out from the cabin and make its way over here. And it's going to house our evaporator. So the evaporator is used to boil maple sap from the trees in the spring. So this is where it's going to go. We got to feed the animals around here. Let's feed the fish first. Every day I have to come out and feed the fish. Now we have 4 trout in here, and my brother and I, we went and actually collected these from another pond that we have. We didn't think they were going to make it. When you first got them, they were doing pretty rough. They were belly up sort of in the pond, and we were kind of nursing them back to health. So it turns out all 4 of them made it, which is quite surprising. They seem to be sitting down low and not coming up quite, but they're right at the edge. You know, as you guys can see, they do come up, and they're actually thriving in this little pond. So it's pretty exciting. Actually, they're waiting for the food. They seem to be waiting for the food to go down, but they are very active. So the water must be cold. Ideal. Dun-dun, dun-dun. There's one. Rainbow trout, and they grow to about 5 pounds, I do believe. So we are going to eat these fish. These are not pets. As the season progresses and the water warms up, it's not really going to be an ideal habitat for these fish. So to keep these guys healthy and aerated, we've got the solar-powered aerator from the dugout dude supplied us that guy. And you can see out there where there's bubbles coming up. So as soon as the sun's shining, this thing's producing air, which is kind of cool. No maintenance required. You just kind of hook it up, right out of the box, it starts blowing air. I haven't talked about this in a while. This is the root cellar that we built last summer, and it's doing pretty good. The door is a little stiff. A lot of people were questioning whether or not this was actually going to work, but it did work. Most of our stuff got consumed over the winter. We have potatoes there from the fall that are still in there. All the jams that were in there and the maple syrups and stuff like that, nothing froze, so it worked out well. There is going to be a little bit of modification in the future to this guy, which I am going to listen to a little bit of the advice, which was ventilation. So the inlet and an outlet to kind of like give it some ventilation and make it a little bit more, I guess, more hospitable in there for my root vegetable. So the primary reason to ventilate this guy, or any kind of root cellar, is to allow the air to flow, to vent out the moisture so you don't have mold growth. We're just making our way up to the top half of the property to check on the chickens. So the upper part of this property houses the main cabin, and this little cabin here is maybe getting an addition. We're accumulating material as we go. As you guys know, the price of material is sky high right now. But yeah, we're just kind of stockpiling because we're planning on putting maybe a sunroom in the future. That might be this summer's plan. Haven't quite yet put the rain collection system online yet. We got our hot water tank for our hot water. We've got our rain collection tote. That seems to weather the winter. Our PEX piping still good. Doesn't seem to be getting, you know, brittle or anything like that. There was a lot of mention of you know, UV breaking that down. I think over time that might happen, but what's it gonna do? Water the trees? Anyways, so yeah, we're getting a little sidetracked here. Smokehouse, still not on fire. It's still sitting there. It really works well. We did smoke some stuff. We didn't put it on camera, but yeah, this is the Smokehouse seems to be working really well. Our solar hut, which doubles as our generator hut, seems to be a little bit shaded. It's probably going to move, because we're going to put it in a little bit more ideal locations. Once we charge the batteries up, we can charge our tools that we're using to actually build all these little structures out here. So anyways, we need more sun. In the springtime, I like to collect my firewood, split it up and get it drying. So whenever I have an empty bay, I tend to fill it up as soon as it happens. So if it's in the middle of winter, I'll fill it up, because if it's sitting there waiting and drying, and I'm sure I always have good firewood, nice and dry. So this one's empty, and I kind of split as I go. Firewood splitting is a lot of work, so you kind of want to just kind of do it in moderation. Whenever you got a little bit of extra energy, you go out and split wood, and you stack it, and then you always got dry stuff. And it's good to rotate your stock, because you know 1, 2, 3, 4. So whenever one's empty, you just fill it back up again. So of the 6 egg layers that I have, I got a haul of 5 eggs today, which isn't bad. That means one chicken is not laying, or, well, it's taking a break. Usually I get about 6 a day. I think they lay every 23 and a half hours, or 24 and a half hours. So generally you get 1 egg a day per chicken. So this is a simple coop that was built out of necessity, because, you know, I like egg layers. So the difference between like a store-bought egg You know, kind of a sort of free range egg that, you know, they eat bugs and whatnot. It's hard to describe the difference in taste. It's more of a rich flavor. The yolk seems to sit up prouder. It's not as flat. I don't know, it just tastes better. And it's also more convenient because you just kind of go out here and grab some eggs. And then this guy, this is the other coop we got the other day for basically the cost of going to pick it up. This is like the Taj Mahal of chicken coops. It's got like a little ramp, and it's got like a little porch, and it's got like, you know, the bottom drops out of it so you can actually clean it without crawling inside. I haven't done that yet. The plan on this guy is actually, the wife has decided to get some silky chicks, which are they're like little fluffy chickens. They're very soft. They have very soft feathers. I think they like colorful eggs as well. So she's got some plans with that. They're just still in the egg, so we gotta set this thing up at some point to give it like a run. So it needs a little bit of chicken wire to keep them protected from the predators that come by and say hello every night. Back up. The fate of these birds are pretty much sealed. These are meat birds. There's 30 of them. We've got them about 3 weeks ago. They're bred to grow really fast. It's to the point where if you let them grow too long, they can't even walk anymore. These guys are growing to the point where they can sustain themselves outside. They gotta get their feathers in, and then they're actually going to live in the duck coop, which before it was the duck coop is actually the chicken tractor, which I drag around the field in order for these guys to be free-range chickens, where they, you know, collect grass and bugs and stuff like that. So the idea behind the chicken tractor is that you move it every day in order to give them fresh stuff to eat. So these guys have got about another 3 weeks in here, and then they head outside. The more I look at this thing, the more I think I made it a little too short. So what I'm gonna do is actually add another ring to the top of it to actually allow them to get taller. You guys know the story of the ducks. These are the oldest animals on the property. These guys were, I guess, adopted as pets. The original purpose behind this building itself was a chicken tractor before it was repurposed in order to be the duck house. So this thing is going to be repurposed again to its original purpose, which is the chicken tractor, to be dragged along the field in order to house our meat birds or our chickens. Hello, where's the other one? Uh-oh. Why is there feathers everywhere? That's not good. Well, there seems to be a duck missing. I don't know if you guys... Uh-oh. That's not good. We're missing a duck, and I wonder how that happened. Well, it appears as though something has dug? Is that a word? Dug under the coop, and I don't see any. I see feathers, but maybe there's a hole under there. See, the female duck is the one, is the important one. She just started laying eggs the other day. I collected some eggs just the other day. So my only laying duck, fox or a coyote or something like that, grabbed it and ran, or a possum. Because it's not a raccoon's MO, or even a skunk. A skunk will generally just kind of behead the duck and drink its blood. That's a little too graphic, I think. But yeah, this is. I don't see any sign of feathers or anything like that. Searching for about a half an hour now to try to find anything. There's no sign. There's no feathers. There's no nothing. Like, we're pretty thick in the bush here. It just doesn't, it's odd that like there would be no pile of feathers anywhere. Like, there's mink farms nearby, so sometimes when they let the minks out, or the minks get out, they seem to be really hungry, and they just kind of raid the neighboring properties to just kind of find food. If you look at the bottom here, it doesn't, that's a big duck to come out of that tiny little hole. So I think whatever grabbed it's got to be something huge, like a coyote or something. Like, if I'm trying to, like, this thing weighs a ton. So, like, in order to lift that thing up, or just kind of sheer pull the duck out of the bottom, that's a big animal. The space under here is only like a couple inches. It's actually, I can barely fit my hand underneath it. I suspect, this is, again, only kind of a hunch, I suspect the female duck decided to kind of lay down her head here and sleep. And I think she was kind of like a sitting duck, and I guess that's where that word comes from. Gotta do something in the meantime to just kind of secure the duct. They can't dig any further, so maybe some bricks and some chains, just kind of so we can figure out what the heck's grabbing our chickens, our ducks. Those bricks should probably give it a little bit of space. I don't think you can lift a brick. Okay, I just got off the phone with my brother, and if anybody knows anything about being a predator, it's my brother. So he's gonna head out here with one of his trail cameras and set it up to see what actually happened. What's going on? Do you know what happened? What can you tell us? Can you tell us anything? Now you're just all by yourself, buddy. Like, what are you gonna do? Hang around with me all day? You're gonna build stuff with me? Like, this is gonna be a pretty boring life for you now. It seems cruel and unusual to have one duck. Like, they're just not, they got nobody to hang out with.
That'll work. You got the dolly. There's no trees here, so anyway, dolly, Browning trail camera, and I don't know. Should tell you what's going on with the ducks. That's pretty crazy. That hole is tiny. You showed me under the bricks. It's tiny. I don't know how anything could pull it out. It'd have to be like, I don't think it's a mink. I don't even think it'd be a raccoon. It's got to be like a big coyote that grabbed onto one of the feet or something, and just it would have had to pull out really hard. Anyway, leave this here for a couple days, and it's aimed in the right direction. You should see what's coming and snooping around your coop. I'd be surprised. Like, it's close to the bush. There's all kinds of animals out there. So, you know, coyote gets a taste for food like that. If it's chickens or ducks or any kind of livestock, it always comes back. So you're gonna have to do something to protect this duck, because it's got a taste for duck now. It'll never get rid of the taste for duck. So anyway, good luck with that, and I'll see you later.
Well, that kind of throws my day for a loop, so I gotta think about that a little bit and see what the next plan is. I don't know, let this trail cam run overnight, maybe give me more insight onto what is actually out here at nighttime, kind of terrorizing my ducks. Who knows how long it's been going on for. Like they might have been working at that for weeks. So anyways, let's check the trail camera overnight, and we'll let's check back in the morning. Hey guys, welcome to the shop. Easy thing about Simply Safe is that you can call a 1-800 number, order it online, get shipped to your door, 50 cents a day, no contracts. You can set up yourself within an hour. I'm not here 24 hours a day, but the security system is. This little guy here is the Simply Safe base station. It contacts the police in the event of a break-in.
Simply Safe on, away.
I used to live on a busy street. The only thing I could afford for home security was a baseball bat, and I had some stickers for a fake security company that I put in my window. Hopefully that deterred people from breaking in my house. In hindsight, had somebody broken in my house when I wasn't home, that baseball bat would have done nothing. It comes with a base keypad. You pull the double-sided tape, you stick it on the wall, you turn it on. It comes with its preloaded batteries. You pull the sticker out, and it's online. You just follow the prompts from there on, and you keep adding devices until your home is completely safe. Up here I have the door sensor, so when the door opens, it knows, it actually tells me which door. So that little guy up there, I don't know if you can even see it, it's so small, inconspicuous. It's the motion sensor, and it monitors any kind of motion inside the room. And over here, I'm using the Simply Cam. It has a complete view of the entire room, so you can actually monitor it from your smartphone. Water sensor, you can keep it by your hot water tank. If it ever springs a leak, it'll notify you. Glass break sensor, which is also cool. It monitors the sound of glass breaking. If any of these sensors are tripped, the police are notified. If you guys want to know more information about Simply Safe, log on to the custom URL at simplysafe.com/modern self-reliance. Now, let's get back to work. Well guys, the next day, you guys saw the footage. Thankfully, there's no real large predators. It seems to be, a series of raccoons coming up and visiting. So I don't really feel right leaving the tractor down near the edge of the bush for now, especially with just like one duck sitting out there. So I've got to, I'm gonna move it out to the field. I've got to do that anyways, because the plan is to actually put the meat birds or the chickens up in the field for them to forage. So you want to see something crazy? We're cleaning out the base of this this coop, and there's like eggs everywhere. They're like hidden in all the hay that's down below. Like, I thought that she was just laying in the nest that was in the box, but it turns out there's eggs everywhere. I thought she was only laying eggs every other couple of days. It turns out she might have been laying eggs every single day. So look at those eggs. Those are well formed. There might be a possibility to take these and incubate them and you know, kind of the last of the lineage sort of thing. So incubate them and maybe have some more ducks. They're well formed. Like they seem to, whoa, dropping the egg. Actually, you know what? They're very durable. I did end up stepping on one and I didn't break it. So there's the eggs there. There's 5 eggs that I didn't even see. They were buried so well. They had so many other spots to sit that weren't right next to the edge. So the question is, do we you know, incubate these eggs and raise another litter of ducks, or do we make a delicious omelet? So stay tuned, and I guess let's see what's gonna happen with these eggs. Are we gonna raise some new ducklings, or are we gonna make a delicious omelet? Dougie. Greener pastures, buddy. What do you think of this? Away from the forest. Looks a little safer. Oh yeah, spread the wings, buddy. Okay guys, well we got the ducks up in the upper level with the green grass, and hopefully it's away from the predators far enough until we find a permanent solution for the one lonely duck this is going to have to do. The original plan on this build was to create a sugar shack, and the sugar evaporator was going to be inside the log cabin, and that since has changed, and we've decided to build a lean-to on the side of this structure in order to home our evaporator. So everything that was covered by snow and hidden by snow is kind of showing its ugly face now. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time, probably half a day or so, doing a little bit of housekeeping, cleaning up the area, kind of giving myself a blank slate to start a new project. And usually, to give us a little hand with that, is we got fire. And hand in hand with fire, we've got Don. Don's here. He likes making fire. He's got his torch all lined up. He's gonna make a little campfire going over there. By campfire, I mean a little bonfire. And we're gonna clean up this area. So you can kind of see all the down tree. There's like a little hemlock that's been long dead, and there's some logs that didn't make the cut when we built the cabin, and we got some, you know, piles of brush here and piles of brush over there, and yeah, and then these ash trees that were felled during the winter time. We're gonna probably harvest some of that stuff and salvage it basically to accumulate firewood, because you know winter's coming even though it just ended. Always gathering firewood. And you know what's actually interesting is this tree right here. This one, can you see the end of that guy? It's a balsam, and it snapped off at the base probably about 20 feet away, 30, maybe 40 feet away. It's a long straight tree. And while we're cleaning up, we're gonna see if we can find a couple of cedars, because we need some cedar posts to give us our posts for our lean-to overhang. So anyways, let's fire up the fire up the chainsaw, start stacking some wood, get this area cleaned up. Well, I think all spring cleaning should involve a giant fire, just burn everything. So that's a short amount of time. We did a lot of cleaning. As you can see, we've pretty much limbed up all the trees that were up here. We still got one kind of precarious above us. We'll deal with that shortly. But yeah, so like we're just cleaning up this area here because it was all just kind of mashed together. We've got another little pile over there. So like I said, it's spring cleaning in the bush. You know, work together. Teamwork is the key here, because one guy cutting, one guy hauling off little sticks to the trunk wood, and we're going to bring that up to the base, up to the sawmill, because they can be used for other things. We can make boards out of them, planks, whatever. Again, there's big plans. There's big plans for this area over here, which is right in front of the pond, half in front of the sauna. We've got to get this area kind of cleared out, leveled off, flattened, and yeah, we got some big plans. So you gotta stay tuned for that. I have a drawbar on order for my tractor, but I don't have it, so we're gonna hook it up to the little thing at the back. I guess that's also called a drawbar, but not what I'm thinking of a drawbar, which is from one of the 3-point hitch arms to the other 3-point hitch arm. That's what I think is a drawbar. Don, in his infinite wisdom, he said to flip the chains over the drawbar to give us a little bit of lift so we can actually keep it out of the ground. Which it's also important to point out that you should never, ever pull from the top link. That's how you flip your tractor. So this is what we've jerry-rigged up here, some chain drawbar, and that's going to help us pull this log out. You've done that before, right, Don?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, see? He like infinite wisdom. See, that's smart, because we don't have a drawbar. Again, like I was saying, the drawbar goes from this arm to this arm and allows you to wrap the chain around here and then lift from the center. But we don't have that, so we're going to make do with this. It's going to wreck the paint, but who cares about paint? It's a tractor. It's a working tractor. So it's actually looking more like a lawnmower than anything else these days, without the backhoe on the back of it. Well, we're getting there. Another day, another dollar, as they say. We got quite a bit accomplished today. We got firewood, which is a little byproduct of our little endeavor of cleaning up. This tree doesn't give me the warm and fuzzies. It's a big one. By big, I mean tall. And it's kind of hanging over top of the cabin. Although it does have some redeeming qualities, it's alive. Chances of the hinge holding and being able to pull it in this general direction is good. It won't hit the cabin, in theory. One of the more risky trees I've taken down, and I probably should take these down before I build cabins nearby. But this is where the overhang is going to be for the evaporator. So yeah, so I've just carefully can you guys see that? I've carefully made a notch in the front of it. I'm ready to do my back cut, but I'm reluctant. Just gonna survey the land, make sure everything's cool, and it's gonna go that way. That's my thoughts. What do you think, Don?
Looks good.
What do you think of that notch?
Perfect.
Is it a perfect notch?
Perfect notch. It's going to go right where you want it to go.
or it's going to hit the cabin.
Yeah, or it'll be a disaster. But.
All right. Well, we got to take a little chunk of this roof off, anyways, in order to put the lean-to on. So let's just start tickling this tree and see if she wants to go that way. Wish me luck, boys. Oh, uh-oh. That's a bigger axe than that. My wedge. She goes. Excellent. Well, I don't know about you guys, but that was a pretty textbook felling of a tree. As you guys could see, the back cut kind of goes all the way to the one side, and it hits the hinge, which the hinge is the holding wood, which keeps the tree up and down. And on this particular tree, I might have left a little bit too much holding wood, and that's why it wasn't falling very easily. But there is a reason why I did that, is because I really didn't want it to fall on the cabin, so I wanted as much holding wood as I possibly could have. So it's held onto the stump right to the ground. It's still sitting there, so the hinge didn't even break off. So that was a really, really strong hinge. Again, I'm not an expert on tree falling. I just, when it counts, I seem to come to the table when it counts. You know, every other tree gets hung up. This one didn't. Okay, so next on the agenda is this. It's a balsam tree, and it's hung up in another tree, and the wind took it down. So it's kind of still sitting on its root ball. And I thought this is the ideal tree to cut a whole bunch of material from. And it's kind of two birds with one stone. It has to come out of here anyways. It is kind of like a hazard because it is what they call a widowmaker. Look at the size of this thing. It's huge. We didn't stick this one in the tree. It's the wind did. So we're just dealing with the aftermath. So I've got a plan. I don't know if it's going to work. We're going to back the tractor in, and we're going to cut it off at the base, and we're going to see what's going to happen. Maybe it'll roll out. What do you think, Don? You think it'll roll out? You think it'll just roll itself down, and we'll just pull it out and off to the mill it goes?
We'll see.
I was expecting a full no from Don on that one. But yeah, so we're going to just kind of give us a clear exit path. It's always important to kind of make an exit path when you're dealing with anything kind of dangerous like this. We'll be over there towing with the big long tow strap, get on firm ground, because it is kind of a little wet out here. Just run up that tree. What do you think? She smells good. That smells delicious. Get you guys situated over there. You guys can watch, critique. Repositioned our tree. It's not that we can't get it out of the ground, it's that it's stuck up in the crotch. We're way up in the other tree that's way over there. So we've been kind of trying to wiggle it. We've wrapped it around the tree this way, and every time we pull, we spin the tree, so hopefully breaking off whatever's at the top of the tree in order to pull it down, because we can get enough pull on it. It's just really stuck, so it keeps pulling itself back. All right, fire it up. Let's go. Let's get this guy on the ground. It wants to be 2x4s. Well, it was just that easy. That's fun. It was wedged up in the crotch of that ash tree so bad that we wiggled it, and it finally broke off and we got her down. That took a long time. So now we're gonna process this guy up. We gotta get a 16-footer to the mill, which might prove to be another challenge, but let's see what we can do. All right, so we got 3 posts that are going to be used to support our overhang, and we are going to start digging some holes. Now, I do have a hoe for the little tractor, and it does dig a decent hole, but I like to hand dig these holes because it's a tight fit. And it's better to have a tight fit when you're setting a post. If I had a post hole auger, that would probably be ideal, because then you would just be able to just dig an exact size hole, plunk the post in place, and you got a nice tight hole for your post, because that's what you want for a post. Nice tight hole. You're doing fine. Here, look it. You gotta use your foot. Come here. Give me a shovel. Let me see. Well, you can't just drop it. Here. Over here. Use your foot. Use your foot. Use your foot. Foot. You gotta use your foot. Click it. Up. Ready? Alright. Now that we've got our two main posts in, we're going to work on our beam. So that's going to be the balsam tree that we removed the other day. We got it up at the mill, so let's go there now and mill it up and see what we can make with that large beam. The beam itself, I think, was 17 feet long. My mill can only do 16.6 or so. So we got to trim that down a little bit, and I believe we'll be able to make all of the strapping and whatnot that's going to be above our ceiling joists. So we can make that all at once. It is a fresh log, so it's going to be sticky. So let's head on up there and make some wood. Well, guys, you don't see that every day. That log just kind of hopped off the mill. I think the tree where it fell down and it was leaning up against the other trees, it kind of developed some stress. As you saw, when it sawed, it actually jumped off the wood, and I think that's a crooked piece of wood. I think that's destined for Home Depot or something. I think I'm going to turn that log one more time because I'm trying to mill the dimensional lumber for the beam that's going to go from post to post. We're close there now. All right, guys, my milling tip of the day. When sawing anything that's fresh green wood, especially any kind of coniferous tree that's got a lot of sap in it, what I add to my water lubricant is pine sol, and that allows the blade to go through the wood and not accumulate all of the pith from the tree and the sap and the buildup. So the more buildup on your blade, the less likely it's going to go to cut through the wood cleanly. Some guys use diesel fuel. I don't recommend using diesel fuel as a lubricant on a sawmill. It eats the rubber, it stinks, it's not great for the environment. There's lots of reasons why not to use diesel fuel. So I just use pine sol, and in the wintertime, I'll use windshield washer fluid. After installing our two main beams, we ended up using a couple of lag screws, or we actually used a threaded rod with a nut and a washer on both sides to secure our main beam in place. And then we added blocking every 4 feet in order to marry both logs together, giving us kind of a structure for our lean-to. Before we get too far along, we're going to have to remove some stumps we've got in the road. I kind of want a flat area around here, so I'm going to use the backhoe, my little tractor, to see if we can break up those stumps. And I've got that remains of the other stump that was there. Whenever I'm removing a stump, I find it the easiest to work my way around the stump, breaking off all the roots that are around the perimeter of the stump and then excavating down below to try to loosen it up. And every once in a while you kind of give it a little tug to see if it's loose enough to pop out, and sometimes your equipment's not big enough and you just kind of have to hit it with an axe. Or chainsaw in this case. You know, sacrificing a chain to remove a stump, it's not always a bad thing. Sometimes you got to do it. Excavation on this stump was about 2 hours. If you have a bigger machine, it's a much easier than with this little tiny machine. But you can do a lot with these little guys. You just gotta, it takes a little bit more time, and you gotta use a little bit more finesse. I am not the expert when it comes to excavating by any means, but if you're stubborn enough, you can get it out. The reason why we had to remove that stump was it's kind of right in the way of where our floor is going to go on the evaporator. We're probably going to work on that next week, but first we've got to deal with something else, and let's go do that right now. Made the difficult decision of rehoming the duck. I think it's the best for the duck. It's no kind of life to be living alone. I reached out to some people, and they said they had like a perfect place where they got many young kids, and they got farm animals and goats and chickens and stuff like that. So it's a proper farm. I think it'll be best for this duck to socialize, have hang around with friends. So we're gonna drop them off. It's a happy ending. It's a happy ending to a tragic story, really. You're gonna make sure you grab the wings and look at me. Hold the camera and the wings. See, watch the toes.
Like a chicken with fangs.
But hold
on
tight.
its feet.
Hold tight. You got her? Got him? Okay, there you go. Hold tight. There you go. Where's that duck going? Got a pen?
Running. He's running.
Keep holding. Hold the wings. So this is the new home. Look at that. You got it's all set up in there. What do you guys think?
Good.
Yeah, you like the little duck? What's the new name?
Duck Norris.
Duck Norris. That sounds like a great name. You love him?
Yep.
Love him already? Good for you. Well guys, I think that's a fitting ending to the duck story. The renamed Duck Norris is gonna have a happy life on the farm. Don't we all wish we could just kind of retire to the farm? Anyway, join me on the next one.